think we should open it to anybody. I mean, the book is already on Amazon, so it's available in Europe, it's available in America. For some reason, France, it was part of it, but they can't buy it there because I had some buyer who sent me some message that for whatever reason they can't order it. But otherwise, it's already available in practically worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. And the ultimate goal for both of you with the book, what would that be?
Well, I think I don't know. John can also take from there. I mean, of course, it's the sale of the book, but maybe to do some workshop on certain aspect of the book, like can be the one piece flow. It can be the dashboard. It can be the mindset change. So yeah. The book got so many paragraphs that can be breakdown in a lot more workshop. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, the original way it started was for me, it was more selfish reasons. I was just wanting to know how Stefan implemented these stuff. So I was asking him like thousands and thousands of questions, almost on a daily basis back then. To what he was writing, and that's how the book basically started. Yeah. So we were having conversations on the phone casually, discussing lean implementation. Stefan, can you remember when did I ask you to start writing this down or something? Maybe.
Yeah.
I think I saw, and then it got into a Word document, and then
went from there.
It started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But mainly, I mean, I just wanted to learn, so that's how.
I think the main thing is to, from what we try to do after that is really having a quick book to show the practical implementation of a lean transformation, where people can have the real transformation that's been applied and how it's been applied to the most details is possible. Because it's always the difficult question of where do I start, what do I do, how can I do it, and the book just say, okay, you know what, that was the situation at the time, that's where I was, and that's a start, and that's what the result is arrive. Yeah.
Oh, and just to add, Stefan invited me to his factory in the beginning before any of the stuff was implemented. And I went there maybe like 20 times, and seeing the changes that happened relatively quickly was quite interesting as well. So, I mean, when we went there the first time, you could hardly walk on the floor because it felt like someone had rubbed butter all over it. Mm-hmm. And then, then towards the end, it was just like this neat, clean, organized. The energy in the factory is completely different. It was just like calmer, like people were getting stuff done in a non-chaotic chaos way. Mm. And I suppose I don't know if you put this in the book, but you guys took it from people rioting.
Yeah, I did put it in the book. We had the strike. We had the strike, which was very bad, where we lose money, where it was horrible. What's his name? Burnt was there at the time, where they had the flag. Burn must go. You know. No, it was chaotic. You know. So we changed from and that's why Professor Norman, he couldn't mention the on the Lean Institute that they were calling Bernd Hitler and Stefan Napoleon, you know, because that's how we were running the factory. Yeah. You know, if you're not happy, take the door, take the highway. and it changed completely from the other way. So that was really what we tried to show on the book, and how difficult the lean journey is, and how long it takes. Because a lot of people think, okay, I do it for 6 months and that's it. I'm going to start to have some results. Depending on your culture, depending on whatever you do, it's not so quick.
So can we use that as an example then, when we think back to the days of Hitler and Napoleon?
Yeah.
What was the shift from that?
I don't know if it's something that you can put in the public. I think that's the reason why Professor Norman removed it from the article. But that was really the situation that we had. We were running with the old management style. It's my way or the highway. And the staff was more consumable than anything else.
I suppose the other thing that stood out was the amount of people that read the books or listened to the books because they couldn't read that well. That was also something that stood out, because I remember saying to Stefan, I was like, I'm struggling to get 4 people to read these books, but you've somehow, I don't know how many people you got to read.
At the end, the mindset I had, beside all the manager, I had 220 employees on the floor reading the book.
Awesome. I remember somebody said or told the story that they went to the grocery store and you mentioned mindset, and
that was me.
Yeah.
When one day I went to buy my lunch at Checkers in Wellington, and the teller, because I had the Neblibit t-shirt, and the teller said to me, "Are you Stefan?" Yes. So I say, "How do you know me?" She said, "No, my cousin work at Neblibit." And she said to me that there is that French guy that give us the audiobook, and now she passed it to me, and I start to read it. So I think the impact that we had when it comes to the reading, not only in the factory himself, but in a community, that filtered down to the community, for me, was, whoa, I would have never expect that it will go that way.
Yeah.
But it did. Yeah.
Was that book the starting point, or you mentioned other books as well, John? I mean, what were the elements that changed the thinking?
I think the most important one was the mindset by Carol Dweck. That's really what show you what is the mindset, how you can use it, and not only in the work environment, but at home, with your friend, with all that. And it's amazing how the people was touched by that kind of book. And so much so that we start to create a book club for the staff, where the people who read the book, they've got a paper where they write down the chapter they read, that. And the Neblibit was every Wednesday, 1 hour before they leave, the one who read the book can sit together. We bought Coke for them, that they've got something to drink, and discuss between them the book himself.
Yeah, very good. What other books, John, do you think?
What was the other ones? It was, what did you get the managers to read?
The book compulsory was the mindset.
Yeah.
Then it was the work of management.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the third one, I can't remember. I think he's in a book. I must just have a look. Sorry, my memory.
You had a. I remember in the Daily Standard.
Oh,
you had a,
yes. Sorry, Humble Inquiry.
Humble Inquiry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good book.
Thank you, Rory. Yeah. So that was the 3 book which was compulsory for the manager. Okay, they didn't have a choice. I didn't give them a choice. That's the book that we're going to read, and that's the book we're going to talk about every day on our daily management meeting for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, nice. So the daily management meeting, did you start that from the very beginning?
Yes, but it became organic in a sense that I was sitting with Andre, my boss at the time, and that was even just before I start with the first course of Lean. And he said to me, Stefan, we we need to have a kind of a measurement somewhere, somehow in the meeting. Okay. And that's where the green and red start to appear. So what we did is we took each area, we took the problem that we had, and we say, okay, we're going to look, for example, shortage of ingredients, okay, in a store. Every day we're going to look at the day before, if it was green or red. Production achieved, green or red. And that's what we start. So the meeting was 10, 15 minutes every day. But then after the lean, then I saw that, okay, there is a lot more that we can do besides just the green and red. And then we start to look at other things, send all the manager to the lean course, and then start to talk about PDCA, start to talk about things, and then keeping a 15 minutes at the end for the book feedback.
Yeah, nice. And then what was the cascade out to the floor? How did you start the huddle meetings, and what other communication structures would you say changed?
Okay, so what was shocking for me when I started to change the mindset and be inside. Remember, I had about 800 employees. So what was shocking for me is when I start to do the Gamba and start to talk to the people, even on a personal level, are you happy with management? Are you not happy with management? Do you think we can improve? And one of the questions was, what do you think the manager are doing? And I would say that 60 to 70% of them was, they're sitting in the office, drinking coffee and making our life difficult.
So true.
Okay. So that was the perception that the staff had. And it's difficult to change that perception because they're never in a meeting. So what I try to say is, okay, you know what? Every day we're going to take 3 people from the floor, like the cleaner, the 3 entry-level people, floor people. And we're going to let them assist at our daily management meeting. They want to be involved, they can be involved. They don't want to be involved, is fine too. And every day it will be 3 different people. And that's what we start to roll. So at the beginning, yes, they was just sitting there doing nothing. But it's amazing after how they was involved. And actually they wanted to come to the meeting. They wanted to participate. No, can I go tomorrow? Can I go tomorrow? And that's how I think we close the gap between management and the floor.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I was in a couple of those meetings, and the responses from people on the floor with regards to the meeting was always very interesting. They were always like, we had no idea that you guys were discussing these problems. They were seeing that they were actually discussing the problems that were on the floor that they'd voiced. So even though the management might have been telling them, having them in the meeting was very different for them to see it for themselves.
Yeah.
And there were free muffins.
That
Don't
always
forget
helps.
muffins.
And coffee.
And coffee.
Sorry.
So do you think that the approach you took there with that culture in Wellington, South Africa, would be different than what would be required elsewhere? Or do you feel that consistent? I guess I'm just curious for anything that you feel like you had to adjust or tailor for that specific environment.
Great question.
Sorry, John, you can go first.
No. I'm saying that's a great question because I wonder the same thing.
Yeah.
What is the recipe?
I think you have to adapt it to first to the company in which you work with. And I'm seeing now that I'm at Espresso. Of course, you try to copy and paste. Doesn't work. And the reason for that is first you have to look at what kind of a culture you've got. And I think that's where I realized, that's why I went the second year for the full course also at Lean at the Institute, because I knew I was missing something, because all the tools I had, everything I understand, and it didn't stick. And the reason for that was the culture. The culture is the first thing that you have to look at. We had our management meeting today at Espresso, and I'm glad that the Martin and Stevie are looking at that before we start training the people, before we start giving them the skill, are they engaged? And if they're not engaged, for what reason are they not engaged? So I think it's the first thing to look at. When you get the culture right, then after you can copy and paste. Guaranteed.
Yeah. And of course, the culture starts with leadership, but then
That's correct.
I mean, how would you translate that to analyze the culture at a floor level? What do you need to understand?
Oh, you see, that's a bit also where here top management maybe some issue is a time taking. It took me 6 months to first be accepted on the floor. Okay, because who I am, I arrive. If I come like Napoleon, you do that, you change that, you move that, you do that, I guarantee you get nowhere. So I first need to gain their trust. Okay, and for me to gain their trust, I have to trust them.
Yeah.
And of course it was difficult. We lost a lot of people along the way, which was a good thing, because they were, I don't like the word, but not for a better word, some was the rotten apple, and unfortunately was spreading. Okay. So that's I think is the first thing. On the management is fine because I mean we is a certain level of education which is easier to understand each other. But when you come to the floor staff, they are hard cookie to crack, and they're not going to trust anybody just like that.
Yeah.
So it's really about having discussion with them, explaining to them what you want to try to change, why do you want to change it, let them put their input on whatever you change, like make them feel that it's their idea, not mine. So and now that I can see after I'm here now 7 months, I can feel that the culture is a lot, is not there yet 100%, but is way better.
Okay.
It's way better. People are open to change. They are open to what you say. So yeah, that's what I will say.
So you talked about the huddles, talked about the management meeting. When you think of what other tools or traditional kind of lean application, where are you on that journey, or where were you, I guess, with Nibbly Bits, and then where are you now, and what have you been learning about that sequence of what works best? Okay,
so I'm still in a level of defining what worked the best in espresso. Because when I arrived, like I said, I start with the copy and paste. We start the reading, which was very, very nicely accepted, and all the manager was reading the mindset. So we had some very, very good session. They read other book also after that. But then we realize also that you've got that aspect, but you also have got the urgency aspect, in a sense that we've got too much reject, we've got too much shortage, So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to balance still the culture, to push the culture a bit further, but in the meantime to start to do some improvement where we're gonna bring value.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's PDCA, that's A3, that's coaching, training on communication, training with Rory now. He's busy with finishing the training of solving problem. So he's going to do a lot of training on all the manager of really how to solve problem, because you realize that people think that solving problem is just solving problem. Now, first, you need to understand what problem do you have? Where is it coming from? Does it belong to you? Does it not belong to you? Is it your place to solve it? Is it not your place to solve it? So that's what now Rory is busy, and we're going to start this week and look at that. So we're trying to balance the two, be able to have some improvement inside in a certain process like the PDCA or the A3, and in the meantime do some training and improve the culture.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And then in terms of the format of the training that you see that works best, and especially when you're applying a tool, is it to get the team in the room for a couple hours, a day or two, and then go out and do it, or how do you find that format?
So what I normally do is I do a training, for example, on the PDCA. I do a training on the PDCA, but like Lynn said, classroom training is an awareness. Okay, without the coaching, it means nothing. So then after, if whoever choose, like now they busy, one of the manager is busy with the A3, is to try to do the coaching on the floor. Okay. without, of course, giving the solution.
Yeah. How do you structure that? Because I've seen in other worlds, and I've been guilty of this too. You say you're going to do this coaching and you do it a couple of times, and then all of a sudden within a week or two, it doesn't happen. So how do you have a structure that you can stick to?
It is my first time after Neblibit, because I've done it a lot of on consultation, and on consultation actually it's a lot easier because you've got the time first, and I will say that yes, you do the training, and then every day you go there and okay, how far are you with your PDCA? No, I've done that one, Stefan, but I'm not sure there. I'm stuck there, or should I do that? Should I do that? So that's where the coaching come, and it's something that. So if I look at Neblibit, I had and I talk on the book my 5, from the book the how do you call it? The essentialism, yeah. 20% of what you do give you your 80% of results. So that means that if you take a task of about 15 or 20 tasks as a manager that you must do during the day, I choose the 5 most important for me. So the way I choose the 5 tasks and the way I try to help them is those 5 tasks. If you're lucky, you're going to find it the first time. But mine, it took me about 3 months to really find what do I do to really make the 80% of the impact. And one of them was coaching the manager on the lean philosophy every day. So every day when I finish with my work behind the computer, I go area per area and I sit with the manager for about half an hour. Okay, how's it going? We connect on a personal level, and then of course it's okay. Where are you with your project? Is there anything I can help you with? When are you going to show me some results? But without pressure. Yeah, but Stefan, yesterday. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Can we say tomorrow? Yes, it's fine. Tomorrow I can show you something. So it's really about not putting too much pressure, but still having some result. The advantage of that is each manager, if you don't give them tasks, they get bored.
Yeah.
And that's where everything goes sour.
So you do that daily check-in with each of your managers, or what's your rotation for that?
Yeah. Every day I check each manager. Every day I spend half an hour with each manager.
Awesome. And how many do you have?
Here at the moment, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 managers. I had at Neblibit, I had 8.
Okay. And that's part of your leader standard work. Do you have that defined? And is leader standard work a part of your recipe, would you say, for your managers also?
Yes. Yeah. It's actually one of the most important time. If I do not coaching, and that's why I was talking this morning on a management meeting, what I have to do now, and again, I realize that some of them need more coaching. They need coaching on coaching. Because sometimes they think they know what coaching is all about, but you realize that no, they need a bit more coaching. Yeah. So what I'm doing now, we're starting this week, is I'm coaching each individual on how to coach.
Very good. Do you have a framework you're following for that, or is that something you've distilled over the years, or?
No, I think it's all the books on leadership and all the stuff that I've been reading. I don't know, it looks like it's coming particularly naturally. So I don't have really a framework where no, I speak to them and the first thing I ask is, how do you coach? What does it mean coaching for you? It's really to try to make them understand if they know what coaching is all about,
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit and kind of move from people over to the process, the operation side. And when you think about the approach that you've taken and you would prescribe taking in the future, how would you do that looking at the end-to-end system? And you would include maybe suppliers in that and material flow and bringing it into the facility. So how do you like to think about that?
Okay, so I think the first thing that I start with was at the beginning, which was the store. Okay, after visiting the Lean Bakery in Barcelona, for me was an eye opener, and I think even Anton said we were lucky. We spent the full day with management from 9 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and went from every aspect of the business. And it was really an eye-opener on how do you, it's not about saving money, it's about getting a relationship with your supplier. So what I did the first time at Neblibit is I take the biggest bulk of raw material, which was the flour. We had about 40 tons of flour per week usage. So what I did is I said, okay, we've got 3 trucks going every day to Cape Town and coming back empty. What can we do with that? So we were storing about 40 tons a week of flour, which is about 40 pallets. Okay. So I found the supplier and I said, okay, let's talk about what we can do to help each other. And I said to him, instead of you delivering me 40 tons of flour on a Monday or on a Tuesday, what if I need 8 tons per day? Okay. So what if I keep 8 tons on the store and every day I come to pick up 8 tons? He said to me, oh, geez, Stefan, if you can do that, that helped me a lot. He saved me on the truck. He saved me on that. So, and that's what we start. So now from 40 pallets in a store, we're sitting now with 10 pallets maximum. So you're saving 40 pallets of space in a store. Then I contact we had a problem with quality on a dark brown sugar. So I contacted the manufacturer, which wasn't a big manufacturer, was quite a medium size. And I said to him, can we have a coffee? So I went there, we had a coffee, and I said, okay, I've got a problem with quality. Can you tell me what your issue is? And then I'll tell you what my issue is. And he said to me, he said, Stefan, you know what? My problem is because we were using 6 tons a week of dark brown sugar. He said to me, Stefan, the problem is now when I need to deliver your 6 tons, it takes me from Monday to Wednesday to manufacture your sugar, and your sugar is standing in my store. So now dark brown sugar is made with molasses and white sugar. Now the molasses is kind of a glue liquid. If fall down, your thing is not right. So I said to him the same thing. I said, listen, I've got a truck who passes by you every single day. So I need 1 ton per day. So what if I keep 1 ton in a store and every day I pick up 1 ton? He said to me, if you do that, Stefan, you're saving my life actually, because to make 1 ton, it takes me only the morning. And then the afternoon, I can supply my other supplier. So that means that he's going to help me to also satisfy my other supplier. So I think that's where really I start to look at from the store perspective.
Awesome. And then production, how about that on the shop floor?
Yeah, so the shop floor was the same. So it was chaos, stuff everywhere. We couldn't clean properly because everybody's rushing because we're working 24-hour a day. But I realized that, okay, we're working 24-hour a day, but only the day shift do the preparation for all 3 shifts. So that's where I start to think about the one-piece flow. Because now we're building stock. Like I'm talking about 25 tons of raw material stock every day for the night shift and the afternoon shift. So that's where I start to do the time study on, okay, how long does it take to sieve? How long does it take to sort? How long does it take for them to use at the scaling a bin of flour, a bin of sugar, a bin of that? So all that time study has to be done before you can understand and how you're going to apply the one-piece flow. And then because I had 6 people during the shift preparing everything for all 3 shifts, I said, okay, let's split them. 2 on day shift, 2 on afternoon shift, and 2 on night shift. And that's where we start to implement. And then when the one-piece flow starts there, you realize that, oh, shit, but we can also do it to the next step. Mm-hmm. Because it fit perfectly. And, oh, wait, we can do it for the mixing. Oh, and we can do it for the production, and so on and so on and so on. And that's where the one-piece flow starts to roll all over the production.
Okay. And I know the context of our discussion and on the book is around lean and that application. But would you say you've learned over the years that there are things outside of what lean typically talks about that you needed to implement or apply?
That's correct. You see, for me is really For me, lean is not a tool, is a philosophy, is a way of thinking, is a way of approaching. And I go back from the book, The Kata, when I can't remember his name, went there to try to decode the DNA of lean. He went to the CEO and said, but listen, I don't see lean on the floor. I see all those tools, I see all that, but where is lean? And the CEO said to him that, you know what? If I ask you to write down everything that you've done from the time you wake up until now, that moment where we are here, I know you're going to forget something. And he said to him, no ways. I remember every single thing that I did. So he made the list and he said to him, can you see? You forgot something. He said, no, how do you know anyway that I forget something? And he said to him, you forgot to write down your breathing. And he said to him, he said, that's what lean is all about. Lean is not something that you do, it's something that you are. And I think that's the aspect that often people who try to implement lean, because they try to implement lean, they don't try to be lean.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, for me, lean became. I became lean in my thought process. Yeah.
So then maybe the question around cultural nuance, and when we think about lean in Africa, is it different than other parts of the world in terms of being lean and thinking lean? And I guess if so, how would you describe that?
Different than the rest of the world? I don't know, because I never try in any other world. But for me, I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be, because it's about implementing the lean thinking, the lean philosophy in any culture or education level. That's why I follow all those things with the Japanese. And I don't know if I had a discussion with you, John, or with your mom, that's what I'm trying to do actually with country in Africa. I contact the Burkina Faso and I contact the DRC, and start to implement lean at school in grade 5, grade 7, because for me it's changing adult mindset. Wow. It's a lot of work. But when I did the training about fixed mindset, post mindset, and played a puzzle game with grade 5 and grade 7, wow. I was so impressed how they embrace the process, because they're still young. They're still, and if you look at the Japanese education, when they go to school as a kid, even before grade R, they first learning about humble, they're learning about cleaning the classroom, they're learning about respect before any curriculum, So it become a part of them. Mm-hmm. And as they grow, that mentality is them, so it's there. So from them installing, implementing the tools become like, no, it's part of it. It's part of it.
John, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, that behavior's part of that fame circle. I think if that's not in place, it's quite difficult to implement anything. So if you're Japanese and you're coming with that box ticked, I can only guess it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think if I may just add on that, from all the consultation that I did in Africa and Cape Town and Johannesburg, my biggest obstacle in whoever manager that I try to work with is ego. You see, the word humble, I don't know, in the Eastern way, somewhere has been maybe forgotten or not trained enough, because that's what I had to do to change my own mentality, is to become humble, and it's hurtful. is very hurtful in your personal level when you have to learn to become humble, and when you have to learn to listen to people that you used to believe you are better than, because you've got more education, because you've got more that, because you've got more of that. You actually not better than them at all. They've got as much to teach you that you've got to teach them. And I think the ego is the really biggest obstacle of lean philosophy.
And when you talk about being humble and that spirit of humility, do you feel that comes naturally to people, or I guess people here locally in Africa? Or, I mean, what would you describe that as, that journey of how you help somebody see that and be that way?
I think first of all, the mindset book helped me to be humble. The Humble Inquiry from what is his name?
Edgar Schein.
Edgar Schein, yeah. I read few books of them. That helped me really to change my mindset and become a lot more humble and realize that I've got as much to learn from anybody else than anything else. My concern is in Eastern education when it comes to leadership, when it comes to management. I don't know if you read the book The Grit from Susan Cain. Where she at one passage they say they made a survey on management. They took 1,000 managers and they asked one question: why do you want it to become a manager? And 65% of them say, because now I can tell somebody what to do. That's shocking, you know. And I think people believe that management is about managing people, not leading people, you know. And I always say that as a manager, you can be very, you can destroy people. You know, you can destroy people easily if you're not looking at what you're doing. You know, and I think that's one of the biggest obstacles that in Africa, and I think in a Western world, if I look at how management system is working.
Yeah. Well, Stefan and John, what other stories come to mind when you think about your lean journey, and whether it's you having a learning or you observing somebody having a learning? Are there any of those key anecdotes you hold?
I like Stefan's mango story.
Yes.
Your improvement at the mango. Was it the mango factory?
Yeah, it was the mango.
Because it was
in Hoedspruit.
So simple.
Yeah.
With such huge outcome.
It's always, and I had the same principle at the olive factory also that I consult here in Paarl. Is again about slowing down the process and be able to see what's happening. Because on the mango side, I mean, they process 45 tons of mango per day. Okay. Yeah, that's a big amount. And then it's about understanding again what's going on. Because at the first view, you get very overwhelmed by what's going on, but you don't really see what's going on. And my first option was to tell the owner, listen, can we drop from 45 ton to 35 ton just for a day or two? Just for me that the process is slowing down and I can see what's going on, because now everybody is like peeling, slowing, and luckily for me, they said to me, okay, Stefan, I don't mind if you want to do it for a day or two, but not more than that, because otherwise our dryer are empty and we're losing money. So as we slow down the process, I could talk to the people, ask them, okay, what you doing? How does it work? How that? And then went to management and say, okay, I understand your process now, but I believe that you pay them by crate. So that means that each pillar, okay, must finish 40 crates of mango a day. Okay. And I said to him, don't you think that's pushing for waste or for, and he said to me, no, but Stefan, that's how we work around the mango world. So the next step, I went to the dustbin, okay, and look at peel of the waste, and I could see that it was 2 or 3 millimeter of flesh still on a peel. So next step was to go and look at the peeler, and I could see that the peeler was quite widely open. So I didn't say anything, and I've observed again. So what I saw in the morning is when they come with the knife, they open the peeler. Like that, they can finish at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with the 40 crate. But then the waste is there. So what we did is we reissue new peeler, and we put a process in place where the supervisor go there every hour to each station, make sure that the peeler is not open. And if it's open, of course, there is a discipline, or because now it becomes negligence. They are aware of it. We put them aware. We make them understand what it costs for the company. And I think the first year was the percentage of recovery went from I think they were between 48 and 52% to one of the category of the mango about 71%.
Awesome.
And that was fantastic. So again, it's about really observing and see what the people and the gamer understand what's going on. The same with the olives. They've got an automatic machine who drop the olive and the liquid inside and close it. But when I see it working, is at maximum speed. Okay. But you've got about between 15 and 20% reject because the bag fall, because that it didn't clip properly and all that. And I said to them, okay, did you try to reduce it to 70%? Yeah, but Stefan, we need that number. So I said, okay, can we try it for a day? And we try it for a day. It's like passing 100 bag, but 30 are reject. Now we're passing 70 bag, but 70 bag are full. 80 bag, but 80 bag are full. So the gain is again, just by slowing down the machine, actually your output is higher. Yeah.
Great story. John, you got any favorite stories?
I just wanted to ask a question quickly, it's on my mind, I can't get it off my mind. Stefan, when you went to go see the sugar supplier,
yeah,
in the Bluebirds, and you had a coffee with him,
yeah,
did you put sugar in your coffee?
At the time, I wasn't diabetic. Yes, I did.
Good question.
Today, today I won't, but at the time I wasn't diabetic, so I did put sugar. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think with regards to Nibbly Bits and the nothing off the top of my mind. I think over the hundreds of phone calls and obviously chatting to Stefan and at Lean Coffee's like height of, where we were worried about the amount of people coming to each meeting and stuff. There was a lot of momentum, and I was also implementing it at the cartel with success. Just the fact that once the momentum goes, it goes. Keeping the momentum going isn't difficult, but my thinking is, I suppose in Nibbly Bits' case, Stefan left. So the sad part is there is the person that runs the thing and runs the momentum, but if that gets pulled out from underneath them, whether it's from ego or whatever happens or some other event, it's dead.
Yeah.
And then you start all over again.
If you look at into food, and that's where they say that they want to do lean. You see, they want to do lean. They don't want to create lean. And that's where the problem is. So they're expecting the manager to do lean, but they don't want to be involved in lean. They don't want to have anything to do with it. The manager must do it. Go to the course, learn that, put it in place. But again, he come from right to top. And I was blessed at the time that Andre said to me, you know what, Stefan, you've got carte blanche. You've got my full support. whatever you need, whatever that, just let me know. We make it happen.
And that might be the most important part of the recipe.
It is.
Yeah.
It is the
And
most
so,
important part.
and I'm just thinking, like, from with regards to like Theonista's, I mean, it's not running lean. It's got like little bits of lean in it, but its transformation only it happened because of COVID. And so, in Megan's case, she was just like, I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want, because from my perspective, this is over. And we seem to keep that going, and it's going well today. And yeah.
So from start to
I don't
finish,
know how you put that in there. Because also, the other thing I find is, like, when you talk about cleanliness, or the CEO needs to be on board, it feels like no one believes you. It's like, if you go tell someone that you want to concentrate on cleanliness before you start anything, they're like, what? So, yeah, it's interesting. And I think one other thing to add, what I've just noticed recently is I've seen a lot of small businesses make bad decisions on trying to look good as opposed to being profitable, or get a bigger space, or get more products, as opposed to fixing what they have, or the lean bakery. I can imagine. I would have loved to have gone, but it's probably wasn't a spectacular glass meeting rooms and stuff like that. It was like walls with posters all over them in a small space. It wasn't fancy posters on the wall and stuff like that.
I think well, the lean bakery in Barcelona, but it took them 10 years to achieve what they achieved. But for me, it was really the that's what lean is. They are the same. You don't see lean. You can see that each employee are lean. They apply what they have to apply. They work according to that mentality. Staff get turned around. 600 square meter bakery to supply 230 shop in Barcelona is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. And they only order the ingredient that they need today for tomorrow. That's all. The store is like an office. There is nothing there. But in Barcelona, it's different because there is so much supplier that you will get your delivery. In South Africa, unfortunately, it's a bit more difficult. But one thing that I would like to say also is when you get the way of getting the trust with the people is working with them. And when I say working with them, it's about putting your thing up, and I put my hand in a dough. I put my hand in a cream. I put my hand in a thing, because I need to understand really what they're going through. When I was at the mango, it's the same. I peel the mango. I clean the thing there, because I need to understand what you see often is not often something that you really understand until you do it. Yeah. And that's where I think is very important to gain the trust, because when they see that you prepare to go down to their level and do what they are doing and understand how sometimes hard it is, they start to respect you, Because sitting from a chair perspective and saying, I understand what you're going through, for them is, even if you do, because I'm a baker, I've got 35 years experience, so I do understand what they're going through because I've been there, but I haven't been there with them.
So quickly on the time frame, because I know you mentioned it's not doing lean, it's more thinking and being lean, but then you talk about the bakery in Barcelona with a 10-year journey. I guess how do you hold yourselves as a leadership team accountable to moving in that direction, but also not trying to overpress or overstipulate, or how do you find that balance, and what's a reasonable time frame to work towards?
I think that's the most difficult question, because I think it's going to be very variable according to the time and input that you spend for lean. Okay, I think there at the Lean Bakery, they had the dad, the brother and the sister, and they had another person also on the marketing side. They all was pushing in the same direction, and they all was at the same level. So when you've got already 4 people on a high level lean thinking, you're pushing everything in the right direction. You're going back, you're pushing back, you're going back, you're pushing forward, and that's what I say is how much resources do you want to put in lean? Do you want to put all your resources in lean, or you just want to put, let's try that side first and see how it goes. And then maybe we move there, and then maybe we move there. So it's all about your approach to lean. Is it, no, you know what, that's what I want. And like Andre said to me, you know what, Stefan, that's what you want. You've got carte blanche, go ahead. So I took all my managers, send them to the course. That costs money. And I understand that some company maybe can't afford to do those things. I mean, I think we were spending something like 70,000 rand a month, sometime for the courses, for that, and then send Burn to the LMDP and send the older manager to that, and then at one stage the supervisor also. So I think it's all about the resources that you wanna put towards lean.
Very good. I think we're coming up to time. Are there any other thoughts to add?
One for you quickly. What if we are struggling with like trying to communicate the one piece flow on a slide? How else could we break up the book and present it in such a way that people will be leaving going like, wow, I know 80%, but I want Stefan to come in and show me more, or something like that.
I mean, there's so many of those good images and whatever. You see them on LinkedIn, you see them on Google. I mean, where it shows a simulation and it shows that standard batch size coming into the system, and then when it does batch and queue, what the throughput time is, and then versus the single piece. So I think to me, it's like you have that kind of running in the background as you're describing the way that you applied that in your operation, and then you can explain. So listen, it feels calmer, it delivers better quality, better output, and I feel like that's the simple way. And then if you want to bring in, I mean, there's so many different types of simulation, and like the coin games and balloon games, whatever that.
Yeah.
So that adds a layer to it. But I think in terms of helping people understand the discomfort that you initially feel going to single piece flow, and that it is a drastic change from the way work has been done previously. And if you can then illustrate that, show scientifically and quantifiably how it makes it better, and then have them feel that in some way, and then start to do it little by little. Ideally in a pilot area, you don't want to do it like a cross-whole operation because it just throws everything out of whack. But if you can show a single line and then have that support come from within of, wow, life is so much easier and we're getting whatever, 50 to 100% more product at the door every day, then it tells a done story.
I think that's where I understand from a John point of view, because from now I know John doesn't stop here. I think you've got PTSD when you come to understanding. And you won't stop until the last one, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I think that's why I enjoy, because you always push me to a different level. I think the one piece flow as the picture they show is one thing. I think after that is you don't have one piece flow fit all. I think it's depending on your process, it's depending on your timing, it's depending on all that, and it's not. It can be a very easy as it can be a very complex.
Okay. Cool.
Very good.
Good.